This AMA is provided for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose.
Okay, welcome back everyone to our ABCC's podcast. This week, same as well, we have Alan with us.
Hello everyone, welcome back.
And the special for this week is with SnapEx. So this week is an AMA with SnapEx. We have Kathal here, and he is the co-founder and the CEO of SnapEx. Kathal, you want to say hi?
Good afternoon, everybody. Great to be here. Great to be chatting with the ABCC community. And thank you very much for having us, Marcus and Alan.
Nice. Okay, Kathal, first and foremost, I think the first question we would like to put forward to you is, could you provide some background about yourself as well as the team behind SnapEx?
No problem at all. That's absolutely great. So first and foremost, I can introduce both myself, the team, as well as the project as a whole. Because above all else, it's important to know what exactly SnapEx is, what we do, and ultimately, in the future, what we aspire to be. All right? So actually, when we're talking about ABCC, one of the big things I admire about ABCC is its precedent in terms of establishing regulatory norms, as well as new compliance procedures. And actually, that's where my background is. It's in legal, compliance, and actually regulatory work. So I personally actually worked for one of the first central bank licensed virtual currency exchanges in Southeast Asia. It had a license from the Philippine Central Bank, the Bangko Sentral de Pilipinas, and those licenses were Type A remittance licenses, FX dealership licenses, and money service business licenses, as well as VCE, so a virtual currency exchange license in essence. And through that, we were able to establish quite a lot of banking partnerships, both on a regional as well as a global level, as well as actually being onboarded onto the Visa FinTech Fast Track program as primary card issuers. So we were able to establish quite a lot of institutional relationships as a direct result of the licensing, as a direct result of the licensing procedures that were in place. All right. So when we're talking about the team as a whole, who else is there? Well, we've also got the likes of our COO, Fred Chung, who is a graduate of UCLA, as well as Julian Ong. Julian Ong is our Chief Marketing Officer. He is Malaysian by origin, but has been based in Vietnam for quite a number of years. And he himself was actually directly responsible for building SnapEx into what it currently is, which is a CFD trading platform with over 260,000 registered users globally. So basically, we have a very strong team, directly involved. Aside from the team that's directly involved, we've got Fred Kuhn, who is the head of trading at the Tron Foundation. We've got Harvey Choi as, by the way, these are the advisors I'm talking about right now. Harvey Choi, who is the outgoing managing director of the Sandbox of Greater China, as well as a number of other compliance experts. So we do place an enormous emphasis on compliance. We do place an enormous emphasis on regulatory frameworks. And as well as everything, we're also a very fast and rapidly growing platform with a global team and an international audience. Because when you're looking for a global product, you need an international team. And that's one of the things that we're very proud of having. And it's something that we believe will actually be pivotal in terms of informing and leading our future growth. So that's basically a bit of background about the team. There are about 50 people overall. Now, in terms of introducing every member, that we might not have enough time in this podcast to do that, but nevertheless, we've got quite a large and multifaceted team at our disposal. So over to you, Marcus.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I think the concern and the thought of when it goes through after that is, what is exactly the motivation and behind starting this project?
No worries at all, Marcus. So basically, it's all in the name. Okay. So it started back in 2018, and its masthead was trading is a snap. The overall goal of SnapEx at this moment in time was to make sure that trading could be as easy, simple, and straightforward as possible. Because quite a lot of the time, if you're a new trader, you don't know what to do. if you're given a CFD trading platform, what's your first step? How do you make your first deposit? How do you register? How do you withdraw? And how do you take positions? These are the different things that people aren't necessarily aware of. What we decided to do was say, okay, let's make a platform that's very streamlined, flexible, straightforward. So they know how to put down their leverage. They know how to place a stop loss and take profit. They know how to do all that. And what we wanted to do was create a UI and UX that was incredibly simple. Now, on top of that, what we also aimed to do was actually be very transparent in terms of our pricing. So with quite a lot of CFD trading platforms, one of my big criticisms is that they aren't necessarily transparent about where their data comes from. And that is one of the big flaws that is currently there in the market. What we do is that we actually combine the data from different exchanges, actually the leading exchanges, and we're quite transparent about that. So basically, if there was any doubt or suspicion, what we have done in the past is we've actually provided that data and actually said, this is our pricing data. Feel free to have a look. Feel free to query it. And that is one of the things that we are very proud of actually being able to do. Now, if you look at what we also do in terms of bringing our users on board, we're launching our social trading function, which enables our current users to interact with experienced traders. Okay, now what that effectively means is that as soon as you get involved and as soon as you kind of start as a novice, you have someone who you can follow. If you're, for example, in FX, if you trade indices, if you do whatever, you're unfamiliar with crypto, you're also able to learn and copy from these traders who are very familiar and actually leading crypto traders. And that is one of the things that we're quite proud of having on our platform. And it's a very good on-ramp for new users. And so far, it's proven to be very popular. We got further developments and upgrades coming very soon. So definitely stay tuned for that. If, for example, anybody wanted to get on board, what we simply do is we give them a 6 USDT trading bonus, just as a way of getting them to actually experiment, try the platform, and see how it is for themselves. So all these different things are features that are available for new traders, for experienced traders. And we like to think that we stick with our initial modus operandi, which is to make trading a snap. By making trading a snap, what we like to see that as is making it simple, straightforward, easy to use, and streamlined. That's our core goal as a platform. Okay, so
Okay.
back to you guys.
Oh, thanks, Cajo. 6 USDT trading bonus for each registration is very generous. So
Absolutely, it's one of those things that we're always aspiring to do, because we always want to be able to give a certain sort of welcome package to people, and we always want to be able to make sure that they have the tools they need to get started.
awesome. Okay, so our next question is, security is the #1 concern for every project. With all the current news floating around recently, can you share a little bit more about the security mechanism the project have in place?
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's a very big thing. And when you're talking about security, there are 2 key factors that you always need to look at. Number 1 is data. So for example, where is it hosted? And number 2 is operational norms. So for example, what portion of their funds do they store in cold wallets versus hot wallets, etc. Okay. Now, when we look at our actual operational norms, we base our hot wallet to cold wallet ratios actually stricter than the so-called Singapore standard. With the Singapore standard, you're required to actually reserve a very small proportion of your funds in your hot wallet and actually store the majority of them in your cold wallet. What we actually do is we keep a lower amount in our hot wallet and we actually store the majority of funds in the cold wallet to make sure that basically the funds and for security purposes, everything is kept safe. Okay, so beyond that, what we do is we actually utilize and make the best use out of AWS and Cloudflare services, meaning that if there is any attempted hack or any attempted breach or any attempted malfeasance, that there wouldn't actually be a major way of actually breaching it. That overall, what happens is that our system automatically takes care of any attempted hack, and that any vulnerability that may be there to be exploited, our system basically takes care of it. You know, this is why the system has been around since 2018 and actually thus far has never successfully been hacked. And that's basically something that points to us having a very high security standard. It's been put to the test. It's naturally, of course, it's a crypto platform. You're going to have attempts, but the attempts have never been successful. And that's something that we're very proud of overall.
That's very nice to hear that, Carl. So
Well, it's all about the movement and the trend.
okay. So I guess our next question is, so there are so many social trading platforms out there where allow users are able to mirror traders. What sets it apart from many other with SnapEx?
That's a good question. That's one of the things that is always very important to differentiate. Okay, so you've got a marketplace of different solutions. Now, it's important to look at variance, and it's important to look at what exactly the other platforms are doing and kind of what sets SnapEx apart. Because naturally, each is going to claim that they offer unique advantages, but what are those advantages? Now, since 2010, okay, there's been very little innovation within the CFD sphere. Okay, even if, or in the contract trading sphere. I mean, even when you look at when I was back in university, 2009 to 2013, but at that stage, copy trading on eToro was there. It was out. But since then, has much changed? Actually, very little has changed in the meantime. Because as far as I see it, it's that they call, a lot of platforms, they call themselves social, but there's nothing really social about it, about those platforms. You can reach customer service, you can reach staff. It's very difficult to interact with the traders who are actually there, who you're copying from. I mean, that's something we're unaware of. I mean, with a lot of social trading platforms as they currently exist, who are you copying? And that's a very important question that actually gets to the crux of the matter. What we want to do is we're basically creating a platform that enables you to actually interact with these traders, as well as actually gain exclusive insights that might not otherwise be available if you are part of their community of users. Because what we want to do is move on from copy trading and actually really move towards social trading. Social trading as it currently exists is just a nice word for copy trading. We want to move beyond that, and we want to create a trading atmosphere where it's really social, where you're really interacting, where you're able to have forums, you're able to leave comments, you're able to leave reactions, and so much more, because this goes a very long way. So there's quite a lot that's actually coming up in terms of the actual social trading side. Now, on the other end, a lot of platforms, you're only able to copy traders, but what about scripts? Okay, so this is one of the things that we're actually delivering in the coming, we'd like to think 6 months to a year as a ballpark figure, is that we want to actually have a feature on our platform whereby traders are able to put in their scripts, and what the actual users are able to do is copy those scripts. Now, we always let our customers know, do your own research. All caveat emptor. It's always very important to make sure that as a user, you know who you're copying, you know their trading strategies, you understand your own risk tolerance, and you're able to understand yourself and what you see as the best trading strategy. What I always tell people, never put down more than you're comfortable losing. And that's a framework that's always universally applicable. So we want to actually create the best form of education, the best form of social trading, and the best form of interaction, whereby you're really able to learn, and hopefully further down the line, even actually develop your own trading strategies based on what you learn along the way. All right, so back to you guys.
I think that's actually extremely exciting when I take a look at I've actually done my own research, and I went in and take a look at SnapEx, and when I saw the social trading platform part, the mirroring part, oh my god, that is something that really excites me, because I mean, for a lot of people on a day-to-day basis, they have their own jobs to do. They also want to participate in trading side. They also want to earn some cash on the side. This will definitely be something good for them to at least start off. I think in the long run, they also can see the true benefits of it. And yeah, I think for me personally, that is something extremely great. Okay, on to the next question. I'll just blabbering on, but on to the next question. Let's dive a little bit deeper in regards to your token itself. Can you tell us a little bit of the use cases of the Snap token?
No problem at all, and that's one of the things I'm more than happy to do. All right, so the first thing to actually look at is basically the original purpose of the Snap token, the use cases, as well as the actual future development. Okay, so one of the things that is pioneering as a CFD trading platform is that we're basically the first to be able to combine both a CEX model, centralized exchange model, as well as an actual DeFi framework. Okay, so by the CEX system, we basically have our 100x leverage pool. You have the actual exchange. Whereas on the DeFi side, you have staking, you got prediction tokens, you got all these different things that are basically there for the users to actually avail of, for the holders to be able to use. Now, one of the main things that I personally think is going to be essential, and one of the big use cases that I see for the tokens moving forward, is how it supports the core functionalities of the ecosystem, which is basically the CFD platform itself. Now, when you're talking about using it as a way of supporting the CFD trading platform, what exactly does that mean? Well, basically what it means to us is being able to use it to actually take care of your trading fees. You're able to use it to take care of your overnight fees, overnight fees, your actual OTC rebates, and much more than that. So it's a way of actually being able to support the trading, and it's a way of being able, especially if it appreciates in price, as an example, that your holdings are able to cover a very large amount of your actual trading fees, and that it enables you to actually make the most of your activity. That's basically the overall functionality right now. Right now we've got a number of use cases that are available, which include launchpad privileges, LP staking, as well as a number of decentralized staking procedures. But what we see moving forward is that prediction tokens will play a very big part moving forward, and that there'll be much more in terms of centralized staking and the actual use cases that I previously mentioned. So these are the ones that will be coming up, and what I like to think is that as these use cases are continuously added, that we'll see Snap token demand greatly increasing, and that's something that greatly excites us in the grand scheme of things.
I absolutely
agree.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. If the use cases will definitely increase more, the demand to hold on to the tokens, not only just to buy, the demand will definitely be there.
Absolutely.
Yep.
It's about making the best use out of it, because like we said, it's a utility. And a utility is only as good as its use cases. And that's what that's kind of a mantra that we've always believed in.
Absolutely.
That ultimately it's about being able to give the best use cases.
Agreed. Okay, so in terms of like the challenges as well as the obstacles, what are some of them that you and your team have faced, and how do you actually overcome it?
That's a very, very good question, because the most obvious one and the most obvious answer that anybody can naturally give is going to be the current market conditions brought about by, of course, we all know the issues with Luna, Anchor Protocol, Celsius, and all these different things, resulting in mass liquidations of positions. We know that actually there have been massive issues related to the crypto market in the last number of months. Now, that's the most obvious answer that we can give, because it's just like every firm has been facing those issues. Every single project has had to find ways of weathering the storm, and that's going to be the number one challenge for anybody moving forward. And we've also, given the fact that our token is on BEP20, of course, it's going to be a case whereby we've been affected by the fall of BNB price. That's always going to be a given, but it's a matter of how do you best recover from this? Because when you look at the actual position of SnapEx at this moment in time, we completed our fundraise and our token sale directly before the bear market. So thankfully, we're in quite a robust position, and we're in quite a good position to be able to weather this crypto storm. And we like to think that now is the time. We know that Zhao Changpeng was basically, or CZ from Binance, basically comes out on Twitter virtually twice a day and says, now is the time to build. Now is not the time to simply give up on projects. And that's what we firmly believe in. It's a matter of being able to build the best functionality. What we want to do is create the smoothest CFD trading platform. We want to be able to make sure that the use cases for the tokens continue to grow. And that means that given our platform, it enables people to earn in both bullish and bearish conditions by longing and shorting with leverage. I mean, the fact of the matter is, now is probably the best time to be able to use a CFD trading platform while there's more volatility in the market. That's what I would say. And ultimately, it's something that is there, it's available for everybody, and it's something that is it's something that has a lot of very valuable use cases. So as I see it in the grand scheme of things, there is quite a lot of developmental room, and there is quite a lot of quite a lot in terms of the tokens that actually will continue to support the ecosystem. So hopefully, and I'm very confident that in the next in the coming number of months that we'll continue to see greater developments, both within Southeast Asia and beyond on a global level. And that's the way I like to see it, and how we incorporate those use cases into the platform itself. All right. So hopefully that answers your question, and back to you guys.
Okay, so our next question is, so to what extent you think the air market right now have the impact on the project development, and what measure has been taken in order to continue building and developing the team?
Absolutely, absolutely. So like I mentioned, the ecosystem, we touched upon that earlier in the discussion, which was basically there to support basically the overall framework that we're developing, basically using it as a medium of exchange for trading fees, overnight fees, as a mechanism to get OTC rebates, and actually much, much more. That was basically the overall, or the original mindset behind the tokenomics, and how the token would continue to support the actual growth and the development of the SnapEx platform. We see it as something that is more than just a project, but we see it as an actual trading platform as well. You've got a core business as well as a project side, and both sides actually support each other in many different ways. It's a symbiotic relationship whereby both sides benefit. So if you look at the distribution, okay, the overall supply, the total supply of Snap tokens that will ever be out there is 20%, is 2 billion. Okay, 2 billion Snap tokens will ever be in existence, with 20% being made available to investors, 50% being reserved for ecosystem development, 15% being available to the team as well as advisors, 10% to the team, 5% to advisors, and of course 10% being made available for emergency purposes, best used as a Snap team deems fit. All right. So the overall, like I said before, it's entirely there to be able to support the development and the ecosystem of the platform itself. All right. So it's something we touched upon earlier, and I meant that in the literal sense. Okay. The token unlock doesn't have a fixed vesting period, but it rather depends on the trading volume, with the slowest possible unlock schedule being 24 months for all tokens to be released on the investor side, with the quickest possible time being 9 months. Okay. So when we look at the actual token unlock schedule, we look at the token unlock time, we can actually see a number of different things. Well, first and foremost, when you look at the token unlock time, we achieved the third highest of all tiers. We achieved the third highest last month, almost breaking 1 billion USD as our trading volume on the platform. Okay, so it's our highest so far, 900 million in 1 month, post leverage, of course, and that tells you that actually we're building. Our trading volume is increasing, and of course, it's really supporting the continued development of the token, and the token is supporting the continued development of the platform. And that's how we see it developing. Okay, the next highest here is 1 billion to 2.99 billion, and of course the highest being 3 billion. Okay, we hope to be able to hit 3 billion within the next 6 months, and we'll continue working towards that, because naturally we want to be able to build a platform for the people and build one that actually services the overall crypto community, because there's so much more that can be provided in both the centralized exchange model and the DeFi model. And there's quite a lot that we believe that we can continue to provide as a whole. All right, back to you guys.
Okay, so cryptocurrency and blockchain has evolved greatly as compared to earlier days. There are many new elements such as the NFTs, which is greatly adopted. So do you guys have any plans to adopt NFTs in your project in the future?
Actually, one of our original plans was to actually launch an NFT while the market was still hot back in January. That was one of our original plans, but based on feedback from the community, we decided to postpone it until the market had actually recovered, and of course, the use cases could actually be incorporated. Because we don't want an NFT just to be a work of art, that you're buying a work of art that happens to be a SnapEx NFT. There has to be something more, and there has to be much more to it than just a simple NFT. It's not just art. It needs to have a use case, and it needs to have something that's actually got some intrinsic value. That's one of our core beliefs here. All right. Now we have the SnapEx Bull and we have the Snappy model. We got 2 NFT collections that are ready to go whenever we deem fit. It's just a matter of being able to incorporate them into the actual platform at this moment in time. Now the community has long asked for NFTs be made available, and our aim is to be able to make that happen. But an NFT, like we said before, we also believe that an NFT, like a token, should have a use case, especially when you're talking about a platform-based NFT. We're not talking about the Ether rock here. We're talking about an actual trading platform issuing an NFT. And that to us means that there's a greater sense of responsibility to be able to deliver on a utility sense. And that's something that we believe that we need to make available in the grand scheme of things, be able to support the trading and to be able to support the continued development of the actual token itself. So that will be another use case for the token that I did not touch upon earlier. All right.
Okay, that's awesome. I do look forward to an NFT in the future, though.
Well, hopefully we can see the Snap Gold charging forward very soon.
Yeah, that would be extremely like just an icing on the cake, and it'll be something that's very nice to look at when I open my wallet as well.
Absolutely. Don't worry, we'll be Solana based.
Okay, so our last question, Karthal, is what are your plans for SnapEx and Snap Token in the next couple of months, as well as for the next couple of years? But by the next couple of months, I mean for probably just till end of this year.
To the end of this year? That's a very good question. Okay. So the first thing that we want to point out is that with the market, we have seen some pivots. Okay. We've seen some variation from the original roadmap. For example, SnapSwap. It wasn't on the original roadmap, but it's something that we added because we had quite a few people asking us, well, how can I buy Snap tokens directly on your platform? So SnapSwap was actually intended as a functionality to make that happen. And it was something that was very much in demand because as a project continues to develop, you'll have new use cases being added and you'll have pivots along the way based on market conditions, as well as what the community as a whole strives for and would like to see. So while we've seen some pivots in that sense, our overall goals have not changed, which is to have a very strong, reputable trading platform with ample numbers of use cases, as well as tokens which actually support that. And that is something that we will continue to build upon and we will continue to augment and bolster in the coming number of months and years ahead. Those goals will remain in perpetuity. Those goals will simply not change. And these are the ones that we see as the cornerstones of our future development. In the longer term, our goal is to become the world's premier trading platform. That basically, when you think of contract trading, we know where to go. For example, I was watching Premier League highlights this morning. I was seeing a fellow CFD platform coming on at every ad break, calling themselves the world's go-to, the world's #1 trading platform. We want to be that and more. We want to be almost like the world's it's like HSBC calling itself the world's local bank. We, in many ways, want to be the world's local trading platform. The place you think of when you think, I want to be able to trade crypto. I want to be able to take positions based on market conditions. I want SnapEx to be the first thing that people think of. And I believe that that's perfectly possible, but it will require continued development. And the good news and the thing that I can assure everybody of is that the commitment of the team is unwavering and that we have a strong belief that building the best possible trading platform remains priority #1, and delivering on the key goals along the way. That is something that we are continued to be fully committed to. So our audience and our community have been very supportive. It's a matter of delivering and making sure that everything happens. That is basically those are basically our key goals moving forward.
Thank you, Karthal.
No worries at all.
We at ABCC, we are extremely excited, and we really do look forward to great stuff from SnapEx as well. I myself, I will be keeping a close look, and yeah, I think that comes to the end of our AMA session today. Thank you, Karthal. Thank you, Alan.
No worries, Marcus and Ellen, and thank you very much for having us.
Thank
Thank you for coming.
Anytime. All right. You guys have a great day, and once again, special thanks to the ABCC community for all the support.
Thank you as well. Goodbye, everybody.
All the best. Bye now.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
The information contained in or provided from or through this podcast is not intended to be and does not constitute as financial advice, investment advice, trading advice, or any other form of advices. The information in this podcast is general in nature and is not specific to you, the users, or anyone else. You should not make any decision, be it financial, investment, trading, or otherwise, based on any of the information presented in this podcast without undertaking independent due diligence and consultation with a professional broker or financial advisory. You understand that you are using any and all information shared in this podcast at your own risk. You are solely liable for any losses that you may incur from investing, and in no event shall we be liable for any losses which may be incurred while investing. Trading of cryptocurrencies is highly risky and may not be suitable for the general public. All opinions expressed by the program participants are solely their own current opinions and do not reflect the opinions of ABCC. Participants' opinions are based upon information they consider reliable. ABCC does not warrant the completeness or accuracy of such information and should not be relied upon as such.